Now, another thing that is very common is that in toxic spiritual communities, we often have a very charismatic leader, right? Who is a fantastic salesperson, right? Who can sell the concept and very, very charismatic. And often people follow the charismatic leader. Now, this charismatic leader, if this leader doesn't do their homework and address their shadow side, what's going to happen? The power, the money, the greed, whatever is going to get to their head, and they start to think that they are entitled to all of that. They're entitled to the fame, they're entitled to the money, they're entitled to everything that the community gives them. Right? And that is a huge red flag. And that's how, one of the churches in Singapore, that was what happened. Now, the church is still in existence, yeah? People are still going there and they're still doing what they're doing. And, the church leaders, they have served time and all of that. But, beyond that, I don't know. I'm not involved in the church, but they're still in existence, right? So the danger of these sort of organizations is that it creates a cult. So you don't have to call yourself a cult to be a cult. You become a cult by your behavior, isn't it? So cult-like behavior will be extreme devotion and unquestioning loyalty. When you do not question and you are judged for questioning, or let's say, right, I've done this, with a few people I know who belongs to another mega church, and I would question. I said, what's up with this guy? And they get really defensive. Then I know the cult is forming. The cult is really forming, because if the people feel that they need to defend, that's a cult mentality already, and it's not an open, and heart-opening and mind-opening spiritual community where it allows people to grow on their own terms with guidance from teachers and leaders. Guidance is one thing, it's not set in stone, right? Guidance is given lovingly and unconditionally. The problem now is with many organizations, whether it is, old traditions or new one, the guidance is you're either for me or you're against me, right? And if you don't do as I say, you're out. Okay, and that does not create a healthy growth environment. It's extremely cult-like. Another cult-like behavior is an isolation from outside perspectives, and when you have a different point of view and you ask questions, and especially if you get, okay, this happens quite a bit, right, in the work that I do, right? I'm a life coach, and I do have clients who belong to certain churches and all of that. So when they come to see me, they see me secretly, because they tell me that the reason why they cannot share with their community that they come and see a spiritual life coach is because I am not from their community and that I will contaminate them. But the client, right, knows enough to know that something toxic is going on within the community and they need to seek outside reference. They need someone who's on the outside to give them a clearer psychological perspective of what is really going on. So cult-like behaviors are extremely common, very common in religious organizations, in New Age organizations, and some may even, be highly functional, but still, maybe 5%, 10% of cult-like behavior. It happens. And it's up to the leader to clamp it down, to stop it. And if the leader doesn't address it, it becomes a big problem. Okay, eventually it becomes a big problem. And then there are, another dark side of the spiritual path is when individuals from an organization start to harm themselves. So they harm themselves where they become so emotionally unstable. And the groupthink encourages them to move in that direction because everyone is emotionally unstable. So that is, quite sad, right? And on so many different levels. When critical thinking is not encouraged, and this is where, problem starts. And when you have people judging you for a different way of thinking or different way of operation, even though you belong to that community and the people around you, your community doesn't support you, the community, starts to stay away from you, then there's something not quite right going on within the community. And this is where, you decide that, okay, it is time I leave, right? And of course, we hear stories of so many guru misconduct, right? Leadership misconduct. So these are some of dark sides. So this misconduct could be like, corruption when it comes to money, power, sexual misconduct, right? And manipulating people who are emotionally weaker. Instead of up-leveling them and empowering them, the manipulation goes on for their own gains. And it's okay to be skeptical on the spiritual path. It is okay. And, don't be such a skeptic that you don't believe everything and anything, that you don't even trust yourself, right? Then that's, the other end of the spectrum. It's okay to be skeptical, because when you are skeptical about a spiritual movement or skeptical about a religious organization, it helps you to develop critical thinking, where you will then do your research, find out more, hear from different people, and then you can make a decision whether this is the thing for you or not, right? So just remember that, the dark side, while is present everywhere, right? We still need to take that leap of faith. If we want to grow spiritually, we cannot allow the dark side to stop us. And obviously, then we allow the dark side to win this game, right? Win this war, so to speak. The idea is to be aware of the dark side, and you take the risk. You take what I call spiritual risk, and you step up and navigate through your spiritual path with the understanding that you will make mistakes. You will be confronted by your own pitfalls. You will be confronted with your own shadow side. You will be confronted with the fact that you may have been as silly as some of the people in the community, where you may have done a whole lot of guru worshipping, or you may have contributed so much money to the community because you were blind then, right? Spiritual blindness. And that's, be open that might happen when you don't have the clarity. The idea is to develop the self-awareness so that when you see it, you move out of it and you be gentle with yourself. Okay? So those are some examples.